people make choices to move away from pain, or they make choices to move toward pleasure. And I'd like to believe the reason you're watching this right now is because you're wanting to move to Arkansas from California, either to move away from pain or toward pleasure, maybe even both. Either way, in this video, I'm going to deliver to you 3 major categories as to why my clients, friends that now live here in Arkansas, decided to move away from California and move here to Arkansas. It may help you to know that the people that I've helped move here from California are just like you. They were in a spot and they're trying to figure out, is Arkansas the place that I want to call home? And my friends, they've moved here from everywhere, not just LA or San Diego. They've moved here from Arroyo Grande. They moved here from Temecula, Pasadena, Manteca, San Jose, all sorts of different places, just like you, considering, is Arkansas the place for me? And these are their stories. Our number 1, no particular order, is opportunity. That's right, opportunity moves people everywhere. Of course, my stories talk a lot about Northwest Arkansas, and why people move here is one reason is the opportunity of a thriving economy. In a thriving hyper-local economy like Northwest Arkansas, Benton and Washington County, there seems to be endless opportunities to start a business, expand a business. Maybe you're like some of my clients and now you can work from home and live wherever you want. The opportunities seem to be endless. Another one of my friends was able to take their pension that they earned from their job in California, sell their no bed, no bath home for a little over $1.3 million, move here to Northwest Arkansas, buy a 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage home, and they had enough equity from their California home to be able to pay cash for their Arkansas home. So they were able to take the opportunity and seize that and move here and retire early. And I'm not talking like 62, they retired at 51 because of the opportunity of taking their equity position and moving it here to Northwest Arkansas. Maybe you're not looking to retire. Maybe you're looking to find great job opportunities or move your kids to an area that has better schools. Let's talk about those for a little bit. When it comes to schools, if you look at usnews.com, let's not be too proud. California is ranked number 38 in the nation for public schools, K through 12. And Arkansas is ranked number 39. So not something really to be super proud of, but just like other areas of the country, there are phenomenal schools in California. There's phenomenal schools in Arkansas. Now, touching base on jobs, before we get into job opportunities, the total amount of them, we have to look at the actual size of California versus Arkansas. The population in California is 40 million people, whereas the population in Arkansas is only 3 million people. Just talking about LA County specifically, LA County has 3 times as many people as the entire state of Arkansas. You'd have to have 3 Arkansas to fit just inside of LA County. So that being said, there are job opportunities here in Arkansas, but there's going to be, just by the sheer numbers, there's going to be a lot more opportunities, generally speaking, in California for jobs than there are in Arkansas. Many of my clients are moving here and looking for the opportunity to not spend endless hours in traffic. Now, traffic is a relative term, my friends. So if you're there on the 405 or the 210 or the 57 or the 5 or whatever freeway that you're on, you could be on it for hours and only go a couple of miles. And you're doing that day in and day out. Whereas here in Northwest Arkansas, we might have a traffic jam because of an accident, heaven forbid, or maybe it's school time or it's rush hour trying to get home, but it's rush hour, not rush hours, to get through the traffic. Another factor I hear people that romanticize about that are moving here from California is they want the ability to spread out. And the reason why I think they're saying that is because of population density. I did some research and some math. Again, we're talking about LA County, the 10 million people that live there. Based on the landmass, that's about 2,500 people per square mile. Now, if we're looking at Northwest Arkansas, where I live, the landmass is a little bit smaller, the population's a lot less. We're talking about 307 people per square mile, and I'm in one of the more populous areas of Arkansas. Of course, there's other areas just north of us in Missouri, west of us in Oklahoma, or even inside of Arkansas to the east of where I am that are much less populated. If you want to spread out, if you want less traffic, if you maybe want to retire early, grow your own green beans and tomatoes, maybe the opportunity is here for those things for you to want to move from California to Arkansas. Now, with all of those factors codified together, you may be realizing what our next section is going to talk about, and that is the lower cost of living that we experience here in Arkansas versus California. Now, again, I will tell you, Northwest Arkansas is more expensive, one of the most expensive areas to live in Arkansas, but it's still a lower cost of living that you're experiencing in many areas of California. Have you ever heard the phrase pain at the pump? I know you have, because in California, the average cost of a gallon of gas is $4.67 at the shooting of this video. That's for the entire state. Yes, that's all the way from Humboldt County all the way down to San Diego. In Arkansas, the average gallon of gas in the entire state is $3.09. So yeah, you guys are paying a lot more for gas, and you're using a lot more of it because you're spending a lot more time in traffic. I'm going to show you a chart right now. This chart's going to show you a cost of living index that has factors like housing, food, transportation, and utilities factored into it. If you think of the number 100 as the average, looking here at Arkansas, Arkansas is below average in the cost of living index at 86.9, whereas let's travel west and look at California, which has an average number above the average at 151.7. Yes, that is a significant change from Arkansas to California. The next chart I want to show you is specifically the cost of housing index, courtesy of a guy who runs a channel called What's Up Dude. Thank you, sir, for your charts, my friend. But his charts are showing you that as an average cost of housing, the average number being 100, Arkansas comes in at 75.6. California comes in way above that 100 line at 192.7. Speaking of pain, again, is taxes. I don't know anybody that's like, yay, taxes, I get to pay these things. Anyway, they are what they are, right? And there's two things for sure in life, death and taxes. Here's the taxes portion of it. According to bankrate.com, the average effective property tax in California is 0.71, whereas Arkansas's average is 0.57 per assessed or sales value. It's my understanding there in California, when you buy a new home, that's essentially the new tax basis that you're paying that 0.71 on, whereas here in Arkansas, we're paying the assessed value on what the property is assessed at every 3 to 5 years or so. You might say that's a very small difference, Anthony. Yeah, it is, but let's talk about the cost basis of the home. The median home price in California in early reports of 2023 is $758,600. Compared to Arkansas, it's around $237,000. Of course, other areas in California and in Arkansas have higher home prices and lower home prices. We'd be naive not to think that. But that's a 3 times difference in the median price of home in Arkansas versus the median price of home in California. If you're wanting a cost of living informational video, this one right here, I go into much more detail. Of course, you can go online and look at other cost of living calculators. I just did a couple of cities for you for relationship in regards to there in California versus here in Arkansas. What you're seeing now is San Diego versus Bentonville. If you're earning an income of $100,000, just the number that I chose, you would have to earn only around $64,000 to maintain your same standard of living. That's because the cost of living in Bentonville versus San Diego is a little more than 36% lower in Bentonville. The next chart you're gonna see is miscellaneous costs from San Diego versus Bentonville. You should know that everything is higher in San Diego, except you'd be surprised to know that the average newspaper cost in Bentonville, Arkansas is going to be 239% higher than getting a newspaper there in San Diego. So there's no doubt the cost of living in California is much higher than what it is here in Arkansas. The third and final topic of why people are moving away from California and coming to Arkansas is very subjective. People are looking for a better or a different quality of life. Quality of life being defined as someone's standard of health, comfort, and happiness. What might make you happy might not make someone else happy. From my friends that are here in Arkansas that have moved from California, I said, hey, you know what? I'm shooting a video about why people move to Arkansas, and they're saying, okay, well, quality of life and the topic of politics almost came up every single time. And my friends that had moved here, they're saying, Anthony, you know what? I can't remember the last time I had a conversation about politics here in Arkansas. In fact, if I think about it, anytime that I had conversation in California about politics, it wasn't a conversation, it was an argument. People were looking down upon you if you voted differently than they did or had different views than they did. It was very, very polarizing. People wanted to move away from that. Again, it doesn't matter which way they're voting or what stances they have on certain hot political issues. They wanted to move away from that emotionally high-charged topic because we don't really talk about that much here. Now, you want to talk about something that makes people a little upset, you start pulling their Razorbacks in there and down talking their Razorbacks, that's going to get some people upset here in Arkansas. In case you were wondering and didn't do your own research, and I'm probably not telling you something you already don't know, California is a blue state, Arkansas is a red state. If we're talking about here in Northwest Arkansas, again, I encourage you to do your own research. Benton County votes more conservative. Washington County tends to vote a little more liberal. One of the other major categories under quality of life that people were telling me is, Anthony, the cleanliness difference between where I came from in California to here in Arkansas is vastly different. And I said, okay, well, let me know. What do you mean more by that? Tell me more. And so they tell me, Anthony, number one is the graffiti. There's a lot of graffiti or spray paint on public property, on cars. You'll see it a lot of places. And it's just unsightly. It's dirty looking. And I said, okay, well, what else about uncleanliness? Well, they said where they came from is there's plastic bags, there's cups and papers and mattresses and toilets and things just in the most random places. It's just trash that's left everywhere. And it seems nobody has pride for their city or pride for their neighborhood or pride for their own individual home. Is that here in Arkansas, where they've looked around, is much cleaner in that regard. And then the last section that many of them have said that is very painful to see, and they have a heart for these people, are the unhoused, are the homeless population, which is much greater in California than it is here in Arkansas. In LA County alone, there are more people unhoused in California that live in my entire city of Bentonville. There was a count done here in Northwest Arkansas in 2022, and there were only 343 people that were unhoused here in Arkansas. So what my clients have told me, they said, Anthony, as sad as it is, as far as the unhoused population in San Francisco and LA and Sacramento and all the different major cities, is that here in Arkansas, what attributes to some of that uncleanliness in California, you don't have that here in Arkansas. The next subcategory inside of quality of life is crime. And now again, staying true and honoring my code of ethics with the National Association of Realtors, I would encourage you to do your own research. One website that my clients have found beneficial is safewise.com. You can plug in your city and it talks about the crime rates there, whether it's crime, whether it's major crime, someone stealing packages off your porch like petty theft. But safewise.com could be a resource you could use to look at crime in your city, just like the cost of living index, the crime in your city versus the crime in wherever you're looking in Arkansas. For some, a better quality of life means a different way of life. And many of the people that I've interviewed and clients have said that they like that active lifestyle. They want to be more outdoors. They want to hike and camp. They want to paddleboard. They want to mountain bike. We're in the mountain biking capital of the world. And yeah, you don't have to drive an hour to get to really good mountain biking here in Northwest Arkansas. You can ride your bike there. Of course, you're changing from maybe beach life to lake life. Of course, there are lakes there in California. I know, I've been on some of them. But salt life versus freshwater life, right? And in California, you're probably more concerned with wildfires, earthquakes, and drought, whereas here in Arkansas, we're going to be more concerned with thunderstorms, tornadoes, and hail. Let's talk about tornadoes for a second. Yes, we have them in Arkansas. That is one of the most common questions I get from you folks moving from California is, do you have tornadoes there? Yeah, we sure do. In fact, Arkansas averages about 40 tornadoes a year. But think about this, my friends. When we were little, 60s, 70s, 80s, how did you find out about a tornado? You heard it on the radio, or you might have heard it coming. Whereas nowadays, we have technology, cell phones, tornado sirens, we have Alexa telling us when, somebody say Alexa? We have Alexa telling us when there's severe weather headed our way. So we get an advance notice. In fact, some of the meteorologists can almost pinpoint the street that the tornado is on. Whereas an earthquake like you guys are experiencing, no warning whatsoever. Here in Arkansas, a different way of life. You guys have more of a temperate climate there in California, whereas here we have all 4 seasons. Other things that clients have told me that are very important to them in what they wrote down as to why they moved here were family values. People there in Arkansas are kind, respectful, and respectful to law enforcement even more so. They even told me about the little annoyances that, it's an inconvenience, but it's also really annoyance. So talking about a drought, I have one client specifically telling me how upset his wife is that she can't use the tub in their house because of water usage restrictions. So our goal for that client is to move them out of California into an Arkansas bathtub. I literally had that conversation last month. Something else I know you guys are experiencing out there is some of your basic household items are locked up. So you go to a convenience store, maybe to buy a set of razors to shave your face, you have to wait for an employee to come and help you open an unlocked area of the store to then walk you to the counter to be able to buy those things. We're privileged to be able to go and buy something at the counter, but here in Arkansas, we don't have those types of things locked up. In fact, you can go down to the local sporting goods store here in Arkansas and you can buy ammo right off the shelf. It's not locked up. It's just right there for you to go in and buy. American author, speaker, and coach Tony Robbins says, our reality is based on whatever we focus on. So if where you are, the news outlets, the people around you are focusing on crime and politics and road rage and those types of things, that's going to be what is around you all the time. And a lot of people reach what Tony Robbins calls a threshold where they finally put up with that enough that they need to make a change. And that's why a lot of people have decided to move here. They've gotten to that point. I'll leave you with one more story. I was driving down the road with a client of mine that moved here from California, and we were going about 3 to 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. So I was speeding a little bit. I was right next to a semi, and there was this car behind us laying on the horn. I got a few of maybe the not so nice fingers, and we're like, what is the deal? Finally, after we pulled over into a right-hand turn lane and saw this guy drive by, just ranting and raving, road rage, right? Past us, had a California license plate. My client, who is from California, born and raised, said, you know what, Anthony? He hasn't been in Arkansas long enough. My friends, it might be a bit of a culture shock for you to move here to Arkansas and have people be genuinely nice to you. Now you know a little bit more about what life is like in and around Bentonville. Thanks for watching.